Johnny Fontana, Half Amazing TV, back with another video.
It's funny, like, if you look back, I had a lot of practice on road trips, sitting on planes, writing. No, that's not good. Let me restructure this. Let me write this, let me da.
You were practicing a different craft while you were playing your craft that so many know you for.
Yeah. And the structure of playing a game is storytelling. And when we sit down and we watch basketball in Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, all those acts are present throughout the course of the game. And as you're managing a game, you're managing the ebbs and flows of it, the momentum shifts.
Right.
And these are all stories. I had a great speaking arts teacher who taught how to structure story, how to write story. The world revolves around storytelling. And so it serves an important role in our society at large. I get excited to try to, play my small part in it.
Today we are doing our thing. And this is a tutorial I decided to do because I think it's important.
I've always told people a set is like a book, and it tells a story. And whether it's a planned set or whether it's like just us for 2 hours on Rappers Out of Control, you can't play certain records next to each other. And DJ Scratch said this best the other day, where he was like, you're not supposed to play Usher into like Rakim. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's just certain things that just it might be the same BPM, but when you're trying to tell a story, you want you want a smooth transition from point A to point Z. And so you want to play like-minded artists that have a similar sound, and then you kind of start slowly bridging it into maybe something more harder or something softer, and you tell a story, and you take the person on a journey where it sounds great. But when you start doing that, like throwing stuff in here and there, and it has no type of flow to it, that's the difference between what we do and what they do.
Do you find that there's a lot of DJs today that don't know how to create that story?
Sure, of course. I mean, a lot of that though has to do with not having the right teachers. You know what I'm saying?
The right music.
Yeah.
It's part of a discussion consultation that I was having with another DJ. And he brought up the question of looping and phrasing and what happens when you sort of misphrase, right? In terms of the loop, like, do you let it go, or how do you react to a situation like that where it's like music is coming in and you're like, man. So the simple answer is this: although it may seem like common sense, it is only perceived as common once you have been exposed and then you have experienced it, and again, once the game has slowed down. And some of you have asked, hey, I get some the game has slowed down concept, but what do you mean by that? I received one again this morning. What I mean by that is that in anything that you're doing, let's say, for example, you move to a new location, right? Let's say you got to a new job, you got to a new home, right? You are involved in a new relationship, and things are moving fast, quickly, because you're trying to get settled, you're acclimating to the environment, and you're figuring things out. All of a sudden, the game gets slower, and then now you're able to now reach out and to say, hey, I need some of my essentials. I need my bagels. I need this, or I need something that I'm used to. And then you go seek that. But it's not only until the game has slowed down that you have become familiar with all the other elements that you're then able to now reach out and feel comfortable and say, hey, let me see about that. So it's the same thing with DJing. There's so many moving parts, so many elements, which we will touch on today, which is very important and something that nobody talks about. I'm going to provide you so much common sense knowledge that you'll be like, wow, like, I can't believe, like, I haven't really thought about that. But it's true. So it's like DJing, right? When you get so involved and you're like, oh man, I got all this, and I got to do the mechanics, and I got to EQ, whatever. And all of a sudden you manage one or two, and then the game slows down. And then now you're able to reach out and execute and finesse your way around the booth, right? Or the mix. So it's like with the looping, let's say you loop and you realize, oh man, like a track is coming in and the full on instruments are gonna come in. What do I do? Simple. Loop. The phrasing is going to be off, but you're going to finesse it in a way that it doesn't, or it's not as recognizable. We're going to get into that. But before we actually get into the mix, again, we got to discuss it. We got to talk about it. In previous times, okay, which is unfortunate because a lot of the DJs now are not exposed to this. And that's one of the unfortunate things. And that's why I don't really beat hard so much on the new generation. I'll guide the new generation and say, hey, don't necessarily copy that fully because that's not necessarily the right way. But I don't fault them because they are not exposed to what I was exposed. I was exposed to the Head Candies, to the Ministry of Sounds, the CD collections. I had the physical CDs. I would get them every season. You had the annual Ministry of Sound. You had the Defected compilations. But guess what? They would come out seasonally. They would come out during the summer. So you had the Beach House. You had the Twisted. You had the Winter. You had the annual for the Ministry of Sound. So those songs, those collections represented that season, that feeling. When you had Winter Music Conference, Miami Music Conference now, you would go and then you would hear certain tracks around the March knowing, okay, these are the songs that are leading into the summer. So when it came to like Latin and Afro-Latin, we're not going to use tribal, and other, songs that were sort of for the summertime, you looked forward to it because you knew you were going to be, playing the vocals. You were going to be playing a certain sound that filled the atmosphere and range for that vibe. You see what I'm saying to you? And unfortunately, we miss that. But I'll tell you how it also relates to society. If you are into fashion, okay, if you are into sneakers, and let's say you live in a cool climate, let's say you live in Canada, or let's say you live in New York City, Chicago. When you go to Finish Line, Foot Locker, Athlete's Foot, during the winter, when you look at the collections, what do you see that's different between the winter collection and the summer collection? Raise your hand. You.
Name something that follows the word pork.
You pine.
Huh?
You pine.
Porcupine. Nice try, but wrong answer. You?
Anthony, give me a boy's name that starts with the letter H.
Jose.
You? Exactly. Color schemes, right? In the winter months, you have the dark gray, right, flavors, because it represents the coolness, the harshness of the state that you're in. Because guess what? People are not going to wear white sneakers in the snow, right? They're going to wear the Timberlands. They're going to break out the dark colors. When spring hits, the Memorial Day, what comes out? White. That's where it's officially, hey, I can start wearing my white pants. I can start wearing my white shirts. I can start wearing my white sneakers. I can start breaking out my white Air Force Ones, right? Because the summer has arrived. It's the same thing with music. So now I hear a lot of stuff. I hear a lot of music and like the Afro-Latin stuff that they're playing, which is fine. But there's two things that I've noticed. I've noticed that, first of all, like you have like a certain, and I'll play it, here. Okay, that sound, that very pumping Afro Latin sound, which is nothing wrong with that. But for 4 hours, I've watched mixes, this tribal house, okay, Afro Latin tribal house, and then these other just constant. Just either it's just a pumping, or it's a very like a smooth, mellow, Latin house, what have you. Which is there's nothing wrong with those songs, but if you're playing for 4 hours, you have to have range, and that's the difference between them and you. If you're watching this, I have come to realize, not that I feel that I'm the best, but guess what? At the end of the day, you have to acknowledge certain things, right? Listen to this.
You go into the league. When you're going into the league, you're going with a lot of guys that were, same age, same class as you were going in.
Yeah.
Were you sizing those guys up the same exact way as you did in high school?
I did, but in the NBA, it was actually easier. Because what I found in the NBA is a lot of guys played for financial stability. And when they came to the NBA, they got that financial stability. So therefore, the passion and the work ethic and the obsessiveness was gone. So I'm looking at that, I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna be like taking candy from a baby. No wonder Mike wins all these fucking championships. It's like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And then you had the players that had that passion, but weren't willing to commit their entire lives to doing that, right? It's a choice.
You see what I'm saying to you? You have to come to certain understandings and acknowledgments that they do what they do, but we do what we do because we are artists, we are perfectionists, we are DJs, right? So when it comes to mixing and phrasing and all this stuff, that's what we do. We don't. If you are a fashionista, or if you are a what do you call it again? If you are into fashion, you're not going to wear a light shade of shoes with a dark colored suit.
Okay, when it comes to my suit, there's one thing that I would never do,
Yeah.
even though I know in my early days I did it. It is to wear a black suit with brown shoes.
Interesting.
I think it's freaking, now I look at it, I think it's horrible. And I see it all the time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Tube, I've seen people at church, I've had to kind of have a word in their ear and be like, homie. But yeah, black suit, brown shoes is just a no-go. If the majority of your suit is black, should be black shoes.
Just don't do it. In the summertime, you wear a lighter suit with lighter frames, right? With lighter shoes. Or you're black, but you don't go wearing light tan with a dark blue suit. And I see it all the time.
Alright boys, so temperatures are rising and I don't want my friends being made fun of because you're still wearing that hoodie when it's 100 degrees outside. A true stylish man dresses with intention and according to the season, and now that it's hot, you're gonna want clothing that's both functional and stylish.
But you don't do that. It's just a no-no. But guess what? That's the difference between people who are in the know, who are masters at their craft and who really are passionate about making sure that everything is aligned. When producers create their music, you are intrigued, right, and fascinated by the piece of work, the intricacies, right, of how it evolves and goes up and down, what have you. But when it comes to DJs, doesn't matter. Michael Jackson here. I was talking to Lord Jackknife today, and he was like saying, yeah, like he's heard major club DJs where he's from playing Michael Jackson here with a techno track here and up and down, and it's like, dude, like you guys, what the heck is going on?
Right. So what I would do, I was work on the things during those games that I was weak at. Left hand, pull up jump shot, post game. Right. So I have a strategy. And so then fast forward to when I'm 17 and my game is completely well rounded, and that player at 13 that I saw at 13 is still doing the same shit at 17. Now you got a problem.
That's right.
So again, we're not undermining that, but we're just saying that's a different lane. That's a different lane. If you want to play Latin house, like really seductive vocals in December when it's cold and snowing outside, that's you. But you would want to play more like a techie more of like a progressive, something that suits that environment, that atmosphere, that season. It's the same thing now. When I play my Latin house, I'm gonna play a range. Not only gonna be the seductive stuff, the slow, beachy stuff. Not only gonna be the twisted, hard stuff. It's gonna be a range, but it's also going to fit the summer vibe. So, all right. So now let's go ahead and just listen to the tracks first and see what you got here, right? This track right here is an extended mix that I made. And also, this track right here, it's Johnny Fontana presents Rocky Bellini. It's one of my tracks that I created, right? Short story, I created this in 2009 in my kitchen, right? I'm not a producer. Like, I don't make music from scratch, but no one really makes music from scratch. I mean, we all use sample packs, right? Or even the samples that are within the actual softwares. So you can actually arrange it and recreate using the pianos and the synthesizers and all that stuff. But for me, I'm originally from hip hop, so I take samples and I chop them up, and then I recreate my own sound. I put them in Fruity Loops. I may create like a different pattern through there, and then from there I put it into Acid, and then I put everything together, and then I use all my effects. But other people, they just take the full-on samples and they just put them all together. I don't do that. I chop everything up so it's unrecognizable, and I use effects and all that stuff. But I created this in 2009, so that was what, 11 years ago, and I released it in 2014, right? I had it out there, and I just finally decided, you know what? And guess who actually produced it? Process, right? This is the time that we were really in communication, and I was helping him out because I actually helped him out to get a track released on De Palma, and so as a result, I was like, hey, you know what? I have this track. Do you mind go ahead and trying to master it for me? So he was the one who masters it. So anyway, so now let's see where we are with this track, right? All right, we got 130 seconds before it ends, and then that's 30 seconds right there before it actually goes into that dead zone. So you have here, and then you have this, and then from there it comes into its break at 1 minute, but then it goes into the full on at 1:30. So now you're thinking, okay, well that's at 1:30, so then I can just, because I like to do the breakdown mixing, I can just put it in to the 1:30, or start it from that when it starts at when it starts to end at 1:30. Here I can introduce this track, right? That's the phrase mixing. But here's what's gonna happen though, because I already know this track, but sometimes it may happen where you're playing it and you don't realize, because you don't have time to actually skim through the music, and because you always have to do that, right? You always have to figure out, okay, where am I? Okay, this is it. Okay, fine. So then now you do that really quickly so that you already know, okay, at 30 this is going to start. But then you realize, let's say you have no idea. You don't remember that this track finishes or where it finishes. So you're going, so you're here. Catch your BPMs. I'm using my controller, so that's why I gotta do everything manually. So now what happens now? You see, so you have that music coming in, and you're thinking, oh man, I could have break down the mix or what have you, but it's just too much, right? It's too busy. So what do? So you come here. sorry for the messiness. I just don't want to sync. I'm sorry. Anyway, so now I know it's about to hit 30 now. I'm just gonna have to just loop it. And now just come up, introduce it. But again, you're asking, well, how do I know? Because obviously I did it right now. But again, when you're playing, you're engaged. So you test it out. You're like, okay, where am I gonna start it? And then you realize, oh man, it's about to be 30, and that one hasn't ended yet because it has music on it. So what I do, I'll just let it go. So again, we talked about that before, right? Right? No one really knows, oh man, you know what, he was off on his phrasing. Because now everyone's captivated on this right here. Because this is the loop. Yeah, man, this is 11 years old, this track. It took me about 3 months to create this track because I'm not a producer. All that, like I had like different effects. I extended everything. Very, very, very like manual labor. That's why it took me a long time. Imagine if I knew how to produce. This is what I did. But here's the thing though, you hear this and you're like, yo, that's Johnny Fontana, like that's his sound. So I create the music that's me, you know? I just want to get to the breakdown though, and then we'll go over it again. basically, I appreciate you taking the time. I know I'm drinking a little bit and I'm whatever playing around. I'm not totally like in the focus mode. I'm having a good time with you, but I appreciate it though. Sometimes you gotta take advantage of the situation, right? But yeah, man, no. This is what I want to say, dude. Like, no, like this is like look at me, right? Like I'm talking to you. I know some of you email me and you appreciate it and I thank you. And like, dude, like understand. Like understand that when you're watching me, and I'm not tooting my horn. It's not about tooting my horn. But listen, I'm a Scorpio. This is what I do. Like I'm a Scorpio head on. So I pick up on trends. I see things. I'm a very private person. I feel energies. That's why I'm always like, when people walk into the room, I can feel exactly how you're feeling. I can adapt to your energy. I can sort of, mimic your personality based on how you're feeling. And like there's certain things that you don't even have to tell me because I already know. That's why I'm good at reading crowds because I love doing it. That's why I'm good at picking up accents. I can go to Europe and be like, oh, you're speaking French, but you're not from France. You are from boom, or you're from there, because I like that kind of stuff. But it's an art. And the people who, you guys who comment, take the time. You don't even have to comment. You have it too, man. You have it too. Like, I'm telling you, like, we share this. You have it. And you know the deal. Because you see these DJs, you go to Defected, you see these Defected, you see all these DJs, and you're like, dude, like, I just started DJing, and I used to listen to him before I DJed, and I was like, or her, here we go, we gotta be fair, right? I was like, oh man, great set. Then all of a sudden you start watching DJ, you start watching me, right? Appreciate it, thank you, right? And you're like, whoa, this dude is playing this track, halfway mixing it, going to that track, and what the, that's what Johnny was talking about. Oh, and then you go to your thing and you're like, yo, like, that doesn't make sense. This is the way you're supposed to do it. Because you got it. You have it. You're not the sheep, man. You're not out there, going on there and just because they play great music, oh man, this is the greatest set I've ever heard. No, it's not about that. Did you learn anything? That's why when I do my sets, I have my waveforms so that you can see what I'm doing. It's not about me. I'm not here to show off. I'm not here to show off and be like, oh yeah, look at me DJ, that's why I don't do live streams, because I'm a very private person. Scorpio. You're not going to catch me doing live streams because I want people to look at me. No. I'll be the first person to say, I'm home. I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, I don't go to people's house. People come to me? Rarely. Because I don't like people coming to my house. Because I'm a very private person. My family, it's us. That's why when you go to Facebook and you try to Facebook, me, a lot of you, no offense, but it's just, that's not me. I'm not, because I don't know you like that. If you email me, we talk. But Facebook me, try to figure out who I am and all that stuff. No, that's my job. I figure out who you are. You're not going to figure out who I am. You know what I'm saying to you? I know it's a little alcohol talking, but still. You have it, bro. You have it. Or, broette. You have it. You know what I'm saying to you? And that's why we are separate. We are separate from the folks who are just going there and, they're DJing, even though they have their heart in it, but it's not the same. It's not the same because they refuse to understand that this is an art. And it's more than just playing music. It's more than just reading the crowd. It's about, hey, like, you see what I'm saying to you? It's like, oh man, like, this is a summer season. Where are the summer tracks? Where's those hot summer tracks that I should be playing right now? Because that's what's going to ignite the crowd, because you want to pair the music with the environment, with the season, and so forth and so on. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to play this track now. But then at 11, I'm working my way to 11 o'clock. And then by 12, whatever. And also, it's not necessarily about like programming the sets by hand. You have it in your mind. I can sit here right now and I can look at 50 tracks and I can make a playlist in my head right now. Jay-Z can do the same thing.
When you say you don't write, I always wondered about that. I mean, so you literally come in the studio and then formulate sentences in your head.
Yeah.
And then spit it to that beat.
Yeah.
And you never write down the lyrics.
Never.
You've never done that.
Never.
From Reasonable Doubt until now.
I wrote the second verse of Can I Live in Reasonable Doubt. That's the last verse I remember writing.
And so stuff just comes to your head spontaneously?
Absolutely, like a gift. But I want to say, like, it's more so, it ain't just spontaneous. I'm just saying, you know, look at the speaker is weaker, and then turn it around and you can't handle. You know what I'm saying? It's really organized, though. It's not like just like that. I think about what I'm going to say.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I think about what I'm going to do, but it's just never pen to paper.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it through.
You see what I'm saying to you? Like, people think, oh, well, you created a set list. Yes, it's in my head. I'm driving to the gig. I'm listening to my music. And I'm like, this goes with that. That goes with this. I'm going to play this. Oh, I haven't played this in a while. I'm going to play this. Oh, man, you know what? I used to play this in 2009. I'm going to play it again tonight. And you remember when you get to the gig to play that song. That is art. That is not something that just comes like that. It comes because you are a true master of your craft. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Johnny Fontana. Half Amazing TV. Doesn't rhyme. I don't care. Because I'm lit right now off of that brandy. But not really. I'm enjoying myself. You enjoying yourself. Be at peace, man. Go do your thing. Know that you are different. You are not the same as everyone else, dude. The reason why you're watching this, the reason why you're feeling what you're feeling right now, that connection, right? It's because you're different. And you know you are. Don't let anyone tell you differently. And I'm not going to edit this video. Half Amazing TV, we out.